What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G with Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. Too true. All right, welcome back to Two Gun Pixie, my friends, and thank you everyone that's been subscribing to the channel. Thank you to everyone that's been going over and checking us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. That is very awesome and cool of you to do so. Thank you very much. We also have a Zazzle store with some merch, all RPG inspired and general nerdiness. I want to thank everyone that's been going checking it out, and I know we've had a lot more sales this past month. It's kind of exploded. Excellent. I'm very glad that people are finding things that they want, but that is not why you are here. Today is another episode of Midday Monologue Monday. Woo! Oh, this is the second to last Midday Monologue Monday of the year. So what I'd like to do is I would like to focus. I would like to zero in on something that is fairly actually important to board gaming. And that is the inclusion, purchase, and use of expansions. Oh! Sometimes they seem very needed. Sometimes they feel like, why did they bother? I don't know what your particular take is on the expansions, but me, it's all circumstantial to what game we're talking about and what that expansion is bringing to the game. Expansions have become a rather important part of the money-making system in most tabletop gaming. In fact, you can almost see a correlation between the RPG modules and source books, akin to being similar in meaning and style and their overall goal, as with expansions from board games. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit. I haven't talked a lot about expansions on this channel, other than the few that have come up, and I've unboxed and showed you guys, how to play, how to incorporate it into the existing game. I think it's going to change here. I think we're going to talk about some expansions today. Why they happen, should they happen? Are they something that you should be interested in? Why don't we discuss what it takes to be a successful expansion? I'll see you all at the bench. Expanding expandable expansions. They come in several different types, actually. The first type I like to call more of the same. And that's exactly what it is. There's nothing new as far as rules go or real add-ons to the game itself. It feels like something that could be, should be part of the original game, maybe, which is a beautiful feeling. In games like this, expansions would be considered Forsaken Law, which is an expansion for Eldritch Horror by Fantasy Flight Games, which really just adds on more of all the base cards to the core game. It does definitely feel like it could have just been part of it, because it just fits so seamlessly without really bringing anything new that you need to learn to it. The Slugfest Games, I think, is famous for that with the Red Dragon Inn series of the Ally Packs. Yes, each one may have his own little rule twerks, but really it's just more of the same. It's just someone else to choose. And having all those choices, that's awesome. Another category would be the add-on extras, what I like to call. And I call it this because it's adding on extra stuff that's nowhere in the core game. Particularly something like new rule sets that you have to learn that aren't just part of the game organically. And that's not a bad thing at all either. And games like this, Gamelin Games, Tiny Epic Galaxies Beyond the Black is a perfect example of this. Because Although, like the first category, this does feel like it's just part of the original game, it is bringing an entire new rule set, new options that you're going to be able to do, of actually exploring beyond the black of space itself, going to the deepest reaches, getting captains, getting specific ships instead of just the 4 generic ones that you have during the course of the game. It is literally bringing you new rules. You know, we also see this with Grey Gnome Games and their Desolate Insurgents. This Desolate is a great one-player game by them. And it works perfectly. It works great. I love it as a one-player game. If you get the 2 mini-card expansions, Dark Matter 1 and 2, then you can get Insurgents. And this is a bigger box version of Desolate that actually plays up to 4 players instead of the solo. So it's bringing a lot of the same plus all these new rules, and that's the main thing for it. These new rules, because now it's no longer just a one-player game. Now, sometimes what the expansion is doing is making a bigger footprint on the board. Sometimes an expansion is about an extra board to add on to the base board. So Restoration Games had a great release with their Fireball Island, Revenge of Volcar, and they came out with a bunch of extras for that, a bunch of expansions. And one of them, the Wreck of the Crimson Cutlass, is a prime example of this. It adds literally another board onto Fireball Island, just off the beach. Literally a wrecked cutlass that you're able to use the cave system to get to and get on and explore that. Flying Frog Productions. I love their game, A Touch of Evil. And they have a couple of board expansions for that. Something Wicked and The Coast. And it's really good because, first of all, Flying Frog Productions did not make A Touch of Evil a very large board to begin with. So adding these other 2 boards on really is the size of like one big, huge baseboard that you would see from an epic Fantasy Flight game or something. So that's kind of cool that's not going to take. I just can't imagine 3 boards of the epic size being pieced together. Now, of course, you get the expansions that just mix all of this stuff up. They mix up, more of the same. They mix up add-on stuff, and they mix up more boards. And sometimes that might be too much. But when it works, man, it is really beautiful when you get all those elements together in an expansion. Western Legends, Ante-Up, the first big box expansion by them. It actually adds 2 pieces. It adds a secondary board and it adds sort of like a tracker board extension to the top of the base board. While it's giving you, more of the old. It's giving you more characters, more things you're already familiar with from the core game, as well as new rules to go with. Now you can rob a train, or you can take it for a ride. Now you can get a posse. Now you can get a gang. It's all these new rules. So it takes all of these elements and just puts them together for a beautiful, beautiful expansion. My final example of the whole mix-up thing is from Greater Than Games for their Sentinels of the Multiverse Oblivion, the very last expansion. Because it gave you more of what you were looking for. It gives you more heroes, more villains. That's what you want. You want to grow your library of heroes and villains, and that is all very cool. It gives you new rules to go with the whole new board setup. Not really board because it's a card game, but how the cards are set up. And now you have multiple areas, multiple environments that you can go to. Now you have storylines you got to do. Now you have to go take care of smaller minions, maybe even recruit other heroes in order to ultimately battle Oblivion. So many things are going on there. It just mixes up everything that could potentially be cool with an expansion and gives it to you right there all in one.